Jordan Henderson to Chelsea. This is absolutely bonkers. I was thinking about what's happened at Chelsea this summer, and the best way that I can describe it, you know that Gordon Ramsay show where he goes into restaurants that are just like completely broken and trash, and he goes in there, sorts out the standards, fixes everything, and then hopefully the owners can run the restaurant and everything is good. That is what Xabi Alonso has done at Chelsea. Xabi Alonso has come in, he's had a little look around and he's been like, that stinks, get rid of it, that's trash, what is that doing there? And he's basically trying to just completely upscale everything. It's amazing what is happening at Chelsea right now. Jordan Henderson, though, let's talk about him specifically. If he's being brought in to be a player that we expect to get minutes, I think Jordan Henderson is past it. However, I don't think that's what we're dealing with here. I think Jordan Henderson will come in as almost a player-coach role, to be quite honest. I don't think he'll ever start games for Chelsea unless we have a severe injury crisis. But even then, he's got to stop falling over advertising hoardings and breaking his arm. Jordan Henderson will be brought in because when it comes to leadership and experience, winning trophies, Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues as Liverpool captain, this is the best of the best, the creme de la creme. We have been crying out for years for leadership and experience and know-how. And if we're going to complain about Jordan Henderson without actually thinking about how this practically works, then I'm sorry, we're just Chelsea fans that will complain about anything and everything. This is a very good transfer. Not only is it free, but don't see this as Jordan Henderson is expected to play however meant. No, this will not be that kind of signing. This is purely a result of everything that we've done in the past 3 years. Xabi Alonso has been given the keys at Chelsea Football Club. He's walked in, and the first thing he's done is be like, right, if I'm the manager of this team, I need a spine of leaders. Not necessarily players that will start every game.
Update on our midfield situation. Here's the latest. Simon Phillips telling us Chelsea are stepping up their pursuit of Scott, with fresh reports indicating the Blues are working to reach a breakthrough in negotiations with Bournemouth over the transfer fee. Talks remain ongoing as they push to get a deal over the line. Now this is a very, very interesting one. And why? Because I'm going to be honest, I heard the same. When I put up a post on X earlier on today, I was told that we have been actively looking to try and get a deal done. Not urgently, because we did put in a bid of 64 million that got rejected. The value for Alex Scott is going to be around 95. But are Bournemouth going to be able to, are we going to be able to negotiate it down a little bit? One thing that I can tell you that I've heard, and it goes hand in hand with what Simon Phillips is putting out here in terms of why we are pursuing. Alex Scott, I said this a week ago or so, Alex Scott wants Chelsea, only Chelsea, right? And we're interested in him because Alonso apparently really, really likes him. That's what I've heard. Word on the street is Alonso really, really likes Alex Scott. Okay. Now, Alonso as a midfielder, I can't doubt his judgment. Do you know what I mean? I can't. So let's see. What I've heard here in terms of the plan is that even bringing Henderson in, it's not about him getting minutes, it's about his presence in and around the team. That's the reason why we're bringing him in, for leadership. Now, with our midfield situation, we are looking to bring in one midfielder. If Enzo Fernandez departs, we're looking to bring in another. Now, the options that we have on our table is Alex Scott, Bruno Guimaraes, Adam Wharton. If Alex Scott is the guy that we're going after, right? And I'll be honest, I initially thought perhaps we're going to be after Bruno G first, and then it's going to be either Wharton or Scott. No, I'm going to give you an update on Bruno G and maybe why we're deciding to go for Alex Scott, because the Bruno G situation is a joke. As far as I'm concerned, it's turned into a farce. I'll get to that in a sec. But Alex Scott is available right now. Adam Wharton, you could say, could clash with Bruno G in terms of role. We've got to understand, did you see the whole situation with Lavia? Right, he's injured again. I'll get to him in a bit as well. But when you're looking at who's going to partner Caicedo, yeah, Alex Scott's not that guy, is he? When you think about it, he's not that guy. You would say Bruno Guimaraes to pivot next to him, yes. Adam Wharton to pivot next to him, yes. Alex Scott, no. You could argue that Alex Scott could actually be a backup to Caicedo, right? Or an alternative option. this is where it gets interesting in terms of the profiles that we might be going after here. Chelsea looking like they're after Alex Scott. Let's see how that one's going to go. I'm saying that, yes, there is legit interest. And it seems like we could actually be trying to get a deal done here. I wouldn't be surprised if in a day or two, all of a sudden, we've got a deal done with Alex Scott. I wouldn't be shocked, right? I wouldn't be shocked. So, again, take that with a pinch of salt and bear that as you want. Now, with Bruno G, let me explain the situation with Bruno G, because this is a joke. Here's the latest. Let me show you from the article.
The Sky.
There seems to have been a huge change in transfer policy at Chelsea as they go for experience over youth, with 36-year-old Brentford midfielder Jordan Henderson and 35-year-old Brighton striker Danny Welbeck both targets for Xabi Alonso's side. We understand that Chelsea are one of several big clubs interested in Jordan Henderson, and Brentford would not stand in his way if he wanted to leave for one of those clubs. Chelsea had been linked with a move for Granit Xhaka earlier in the summer, but nothing materialised, and they believe Henderson has the character, leadership qualities and experience that they want to add this summer. Meanwhile, the club have held positive talks with Brighton over a potential deal for Danny Welbeck. The striker has a year left on his contract, and the club won't stand in his way either as long as they receive the right price. Last season he scored 13 league goals and has had a particularly good record against Chelsea while he's been at Brighton. Wow, this is a change, isn't it, for Chelsea? We knew that they had changed tack a little bit, you know, the idea of trying to get Xhaka linked with Stones. But what about these two? You're talking about not 30-year-olds, 35 and 36. What do you make of it?
I like it. I have to say, I do like it. I mean, when I've been speaking about Chelsea before, I think what they really lacked, and I've always said it, is experience. They had way too much youth in the side that's never been in the big situations, the difficult situations, whether they're going for a good time or a bad time. I think with these two players, especially Henderson, you're bringing a player in that has experience, that's been there in big moments, and he can only help the youngsters navigate through their careers in a more efficient way.
Let's start with Henderson then. I mean, a lot of people saying, well, he's just a cheerleader. We got all of that when he went to the World Cup. Is that unfair on him, given what he did for Brentford last year? Do you think he can add on the pitch for Chelsea as well as off the pitch?
Yeah, I mean, he brings something to the pitch, which is obviously experience. He understands the game. Again, he's been there in big moments. He's got quality on the ball, there's no doubt about that. We're not going to see the Jordan Henderson we've seen, you know, in the 80s peak, which is, you know, covering like 12 kilometres a game. But he's definitely going to bring something. Being on the pitch, he'll be like that second voice, you know, that the manager kind of might relay messages to him. You know, day-to-day basis, if, you know, there's players that have been dropped, you know, he might go to them and say, listen, you need to keep your head, you need to keep your mind, you need to, you know, train hard. Where sometimes you just kind of, you know, go into your shell and kind of go through the motions. But I think he's that kind of character that's going to keep everyone on their toes. And then when we talk about Danny Welbeck, you know, I was saying Danny Welbeck should be in the England squad ahead of, you know, Solanke, because he had a great season, 13 Premier League goals, very good technically, can come into them deep areas. His link-up play is very good, but then he started scoring goals. He's become pretty, you know, prolific as he's got older. He's understood his position and what's expected of him more. So I think that's a good signing. I think they're two good additions that bring you experience on the pitch, but off the pitch as well.
I think Chelsea fans will be crying out for experience, right?
Yeah.
They have been saying that for a while. But then with these two, you're only going to get 1 year, maybe 2 years out of them, aren't you? So why not go and find a 30-year-old who you can get a few more years out of?
Yeah, but you say that. You say go and find a 30-year-old. If you go and find a top-quality 30-year-old, you're going to be paying, you know, you're going to be paying decent money for that 30-year-old still. Whereas these two, they're cheap options that can come in. They know the Premier League. They can do a job right now. My thing is this. Chelsea have a lot of young players. You know, I feel like they need, you know, some players playing at their peak. They need some players playing at the end of career. They need a good blend of players. And again, both of them, they performed last year. They performed. Now, with Henderson, obviously Henderson going with the England squad, I think he did go there pretty much as a player to have around the squad that can G everyone up, that can keep everyone's, you know, focused in these big moments. But definitely, day to day, you know, playing week in, week out, I think he can still do a job. He played 22 games last year. So
Started 22, didn't he?
Very professional. Yeah, started 22. Very professional, on and off the field, takes care of his body. Hasn't really been injured much throughout his career, so I think it's a good signing.
All right, got a couple of remarkable stats around this. Who do you think was the last player over 26 that Chelsea signed for a transfer fee? The answer is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. I mean, to be honest, I forgot he played at Chelsea. What's more, that was way back in September 2022. Thomas Tuchel, the manager then, including interim appointments, a further 8 managers have come and gone since then. Another remarkable line for you, Chelsea haven't given a single minute to a player over the age of 30 in any of their last 123 matches in all competitions since 39-year-old Thiago Silva's last appearance in May 2024. That's an amazing stat, that last one.
Yeah, I mean, and by the way, 39 years old. And when Thiago was playing as well, Chelsea were, they were a lot better side defensively. And he brought that experience. And I think, again, this is why we're seeing these kind of signings. It's to bring the experience, it's to bring that, team togetherness there. These players will look at them and look up to them and give them the respect they deserve because of what they've done throughout their careers for so many years. So I think this is good. 2 really good signings. But then Danny Welbeck as well. Chelsea are struggling for number 9s.
So where does he fit? If Welbeck comes in, is he the number 1 striker? Was that João Pedro?
I think it's João Pedro. But then again, João Pedro likes to manoeuvre in them kind of deeper roles as well. So maybe this is an option where if João Pedro is going to play in that deeper option, you could put Welbeck up front as well. He scores all types of goals. I mean, we're seeing this one here. This is a great header. But then his link-up play is very good. He's scoring the scrappy goals. He's scoring the good goals. He runs into space because he's still quick. And he's not as quick as he used to be, but he can run away from you still. And like I said, I think he's a good signing because, you've got Pedro there. Yes, I'd say he's number 1. But Delap hasn't, played nowhere near what he's expected. Everyone had expectation for him, but he hasn't done it so far. So signing someone like Welbeck that's going to come in there, and it might be just for 1 season or 2 seasons, but that's what Chelsea need, on their ascendancy to becoming a powerhouse again.
See there, he scored more goals against Chelsea than any other club, just over 50-odd minutes in terms of
that's a great finish as well, by the way.
Yeah, lovely finish.
Yeah.
He's played with João Pedro as well, hasn't he, at Brighton.
Yeah.
So maybe they're thinking of that. They could play them together.